Okay, so we got onto the war in Ukraine and food shortages and an energy crisis in Europe. So the food issue is something that is not being discussed in the mainstream, and there's more to it. Okay, I'm here in Southeast Asia, in Thailand, and in China. I get a fair bit of news out of China. Some of it can believe, some of it can't. There's massive droughts in the north of China, and there's flooding in southern China. Massive flooding in southern China, massive drought up north. It's affected their rice crop, their sweet potato crop. I know those two for sure. I suspect their corn or maize crop as well. So there's some of that food is exported, some of it isn't. Okay, so but China is in trouble. They're going to want resources from other countries. Their economy is teetering now. People are saying it's going to collapse. I don't think so. Okay, the Communist Party controls everything, and they can just print as much money as they need, and they're gonna. Everything will be fine. They shut the banks down. People can't get their money. So freaking what is China's view? Forget it. They're just peasants. The CCP controls everything. Okay, so China's not going to collapse. It should collapse, but it's not going to. So you've got issues with food in China. You've got issues with food in Africa, because a lot of the Ukrainian wheat was the Middle East and Africa got it, so they're not going to get it this year. Food stocks around the world are short. There's been issues in America with wet conditions, not able to plant, not able to harvest. So there's, I think, I saw a stat where the cereal crops, the wheat and corn, are down by near on 20% yield over last year. So I think America will be all right, but the rest of the world isn't. Another issue that we've got is fertilizer. So Ukraine and Russia produce a lot of fertilizer for the world. They're not doing that now, they're at war. So the next crop is going to suffer. So we've got an energy crisis that's being addressed in Europe, in Germany in particular. But it's in a bad way. We've got food issues coming up around the world, and after that we've got growing food issues because there's a lack of fertilizer. So you've got at least 3 years of issues that are going to affect the economies of the world. Now, I know that, and I'm no expert, right? I just watch the news, and the experts know that, and the experts are talking to the politicians, and the politicians are talking to the top strata. And the top strata know all this. Okay, whether it's been planned or not, I don't know for sure, but things could have been done better, could have been done differently. They weren't. I'm no Einstein on this one, but there are Einsteins up the top who must have seen this coming. They must have. And so therefore we are where we are, and we're there because we have decided to be there. We don't have to be here. There could have been other things that were done. They weren't. Now, here's the thing. This climate change. Now, whether or not your political views on this, I don't care. Okay, we're talking about the science here. The science on climate change is irrefutable. No one's refuting that the climate is changing now. They're just saying by how much, right? And that's a stupid argument. Like, it is ridiculous. Okay, so the climate change is going to affect the crops that we can grow in the future. Can we grow any? Who knows? We don't know yet. Okay, but you're looking at serious decline in global food output. Yeah, so serious decline in global food output in the not too distant future. Now, a hungry man is a desperate man, and a desperate man is a dangerous man. Make no mistake about this. And the powers that be fully appreciate this. So things have been put in motion, plans have been put in place for this eventuality, and the part of the planning has been around this COVID issue, right? So what needs to happen is to be able to trace the members of the population, and all you've got to do is look at China for the blueprint around this. Okay, they've got cameras everywhere, facial recognition, social credit system, and they can effectively control their population. And it's trivial for them to do it. So we've got tracing apps now on our phones. You think you can uninstall them? Good luck with that. I can write an app. I'm a software developer by profession. I can write an app that makes you think you've uninstalled it. I can do that for any operating system. So, you think you've uninstalled your tracing app? Good luck. Anyway, so controlling the population in times of crisis, that's been established now in the West. Okay, times of crisis are coming. That like winter is coming. No, okay, seriously, this food crisis is only just getting started. The economy is tanking globally. People are hurting. Energy prices are going up. The politicians, Biden in particular, is saying this is a period of transition. We're transitioning to a greener economy. Okay, now that's bullshit. Okay, there's nothing. If you look at the COP26, was the latest one, right? Everybody is saying net zero by 2050. China's saying 2060. Net zero, which doesn't mean shit. Okay, what net zero means is we're still going to be pumping out CO2 and methane and nitrous oxide sulfates into the atmosphere. We're still going to pump them out, but we're going to have something in place that will take the CO2 and what have you out of the atmosphere. So planting trees. Now on paper that'll get them to net zero, maybe, if we're lucky. All right, and then they're saying we've got carbon capture technology, so we can draw CO2 out of the atmosphere. Yeah, really? Okay. I heard of an Israeli guy who has created some kind of box that at the moment can take out, it's got like a sponge in it, and it can capture 100 grams of CO2 out of the atmosphere. Okay, he thinks he can scale that up to capture a ton, 1,000 kilograms of CO2 in the atmosphere. Okay, we need, just to reach net zero, we need to take out somewhere between 30 billion tonnes and 80 billion tonnes of CO2 out of the atmosphere every year to hit net zero. Right? So that means zero emission. It's effectively zero emissions. If the world stopped emitting CO2 today, the atmosphere will continue to warm for the foreseeable future. The science is done on this. That is without doubt the case. So if you can create a little cube, and this, what happens is the cube gets sent up by a weather balloon into the atmosphere high enough to take out CO2 that is in a solid state due to the temperature. That's what I've read on this, okay? So one balloon, 1 tonne. Being generous, 50 billion weather balloons with little boxes on the bottom all over the planet every year for the foreseeable future. And this was a serious news story about some guy who's got the answer to fucking the pollution problem. I mean, and we've got these huge billions of dollars getting spent on these plants that scrub CO2 out of the atmosphere, and they are telling us they can get 1,000 tonnes of CO2 out of the atmosphere every year with massive big plants that cost billions of dollars. 1,000 tonnes. We need 50 billion tonnes taken out just to reach. And that's on today's figures. The CO2, everything keeps getting more and more and more. So this idea that you're going to be drawing CO2 out of the atmosphere anytime soon is laughable. Don't stop trying to produce the technology. Go ahead, just waste your money. But no, okay. And so I know this. You probably know this, and believe me, the people at the top, they know this. Okay, so there's no dreaming that there's going to be a solution to the climate crisis at all. You can buy your electric car, right? But that's not actually going to help at all with the climate crisis. Okay, everyone in California can buy themselves an electric car. Sitting here in Thailand, everybody here, first of all, we can't afford to buy electric cars. Okay, they're out of the question, right? And there are 70 million people here. Almost all of them have a motorbike, and most of them have got combustion engine cars. It's a rural economy. There's tractors and rice harvesters. All of it runs on diesel, and it's just not going to change, right? Here, plastic straw, single-use plastic straw. They are ubiquitous. They're everywhere, right? The West has got no fucking idea what they're talking about when they think they're doing the right thing for the climate by limiting all your conveniences like your plastic straws and what have you, and fucking going to your EVs and all. It's just like, it is a way for the rich people to make money. It's going to do nothing for the climate change issue. Nothing at all. Right? It's look, we had the recycling scam. Okay, I can talk. This is mainstream news in Australia. Okay, there's absolutely nothing conspiratorial about this at all. We had recycling in Australia, so you had different coloured bins where you put your aluminium and your glass and your plastic and your paper and what have you, all in these different bins. Yep. Now, they started off with bins with partitions in them, and the idea was that the garbage truck would come along and lift this bin up, and because it had a partition in the bin, it would go down different chutes into the garbage truck, so paper down one, glass down another, you know, and then they would all be separated in the truck. Never happened. Right? That idea was never going to fly, but it was seriously put forward and implemented. Right? They just took all the petitions out, and after about a week, that was, fuck that, it's not working, never going to work. So then we got told that we're recycling all our stuff, right? No, it was getting put on a ship and transported off to Indonesia, okay, and other countries ship it off to Africa, right? And it just gets either landfilled in Indonesia or burned. It's not recycled, right? In Africa, they say they're recycling stuff, but it's just polluting Africa. There's plastic, there's waste from all your consumer goods, TVs, fridges, and all the rest of it. It all just goes to Africa. You know, it's just a scam, scamming the public, saying, "Oh yeah, we're recycling." Less than 10% of anything that can be recycled is recycled. Okay, and that's the same that's happening with the climate. It's all spend money, because it makes us look good as politicians. Nothing happening. Nothing's going to happen. And the truth is, nothing. It's too late now. Nothing can happen. If you stop emissions tomorrow, it'll carry on as is, warm for the next 100 years. Climate change. We're going to hit 8.5 degrees. Sometime there towards the end of the century. No one will be around to see it. We'll all be dead by then. Right? That's where we are. That's reality.